Hi, everybody. Well, welcome to our weekly, or it's actually a bi-weekly webinar at this point. This week, I'm really excited. The timing couldn't be better, and I couldn't think of anything more useful to share with you guys other than how to conduct a 90-day Web Center fast track for yourself and for your group. I'll get really into the details later, but just know this. We just finished our very first official international 90-day Web Center Fast Track, and the results were out of this world. I will share them with you shortly, but the results were great. It was really duplicatable. People that remained on the fast track saw some incredible success, and so the next step is just teaching people how to actually conduct one of these for themselves, and whether they're going to do it on their own or whether they're going to do it with a partner or with other people in their group. So I'm really excited about what we're going to be covering tonight. But before we get started, just want to go over a few quick reminders. Our next webinar is going to be on December 18th. It's the same registration as what you're currently using for tonight. And the topic will be announced the day of. So just like you saw today on maWebCenters Facebook page, we announced that we would be covering the 90-day fast track and how to conduct one. You'll see what the topic of the week will be there. Also, the webinars are recorded and they're uploaded to mawc411.com. So if you go there and you click on training and support and you scroll down to webinars, you can view the previous 12 webinars that were conducted, recorded, and uploaded. And really what my theory is if it's a new topic, and if barring any technical glitches, our goal is to record and upload as many of these as possible. And if we repeat a topic and we include some updated information, what we'll do is we'll remove the old one and upload the new one. So just make sure you're constantly checking back there, because there's some really valuable information for yourself, for your own personal training, attitude, and knowledge, but also for web center owners or other unfranchised owners that are looking to learn more about the web center program. This is where you need to send them. All right, so that's that. During the webinar, you can send me a question via the chat box below. And at the end of the webinar, what I'll do is I'll mute out myself and I'll just simply type out the responses to everybody. Just because I can't actually respond to questions during the webinar since I'm conducting these solo. So I will answer your questions, try to be patient, and at the end of the webinar, I'll make sure that I stay on as long as I need to stay on to make sure everybody's questions are answered. All right, so today we're going to cover these things. Number one, what is the Web Center Fast Track? What is it all about? What is it? What is it not? What are the goals behind the Fast Track? And all of that great stuff. Then I'm going to talk to you just a tiny little bit about what our beta group accomplished and what our first official group accomplished. Now, this is really important, you guys, because this Fast Track was put together and it was based on Elizabeth Weber's 90-day fast track. Now, we made some adjustments to tailor it specifically to the Web Center program and unfranchised owners that owned a Web Center. However, we didn't just release this program that should work out in theory. We actually tested it with a group of about 12 people in the spring, and we literally just this past week completed our 90-day fast track with an incredible larger group with 175 people on it. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what those groups did and what they accomplished, and how that just proves that the program is duplicatable, it is worth looking into, and it's certainly worth conducting if you can do that. I'm going to talk about what kind of expectations you should set for yourself and set for the people that you're running with, what the process would look like, how to get prepared before you actually launch a fast track, and what kind of homework to assign. And then selecting dates, the commitment, and how to actually launch a fast track. So really, guys, the goal of tonight's webinar is to educate you on what the 90-day fast track is, but more than that, to teach you what you need to do if you're going to actually launch one for yourself and launch one for your group. We will be launching another official one that I'll be heading out, and I'll be leading it after World Conference. You'll get more details on that at World Conference. However, I want to strongly encourage everybody to do the fast track on their own and with their own groups before then. If you do that, then by the time we launch the next official one that I'll be leading, you're going to be in the most incredible position to succeed. You're going to be so ready to actually hit the ground running, and you're going to have some momentum already built up that you can continue to grow on. So this is really, really a great time to start a fast track. The last webinar that we did was all about building your business during the holidays and how that can be probably one of the most profitable months of the year for you, not only retail wise, but distributor wise and, the big picture wise. So make sure you check that out too. And you start the fast track sooner than later so that by the time you're at World Conference, which is, by the way, about 10 weeks away, you're ready to hit the ball, hit the ground running. All right. So what is it? This is not about going nuts or tearing it up, okay? I think that the term fast track can be just a little bit misleading, and it might make you think that the fast track is meant for superstar web center owners or web center owners that want to cold call or call 100 people a week or whatever. It's not about that. This is absolutely 100% all about building a strong and healthy unfranchise as a web center owner. It's about duplicating the right things in your web center business. It's about learning how to spend and schedule your time wisely, and it's about the big picture, right? This is about remaining accountable. When you see how the process unfolds, besides, obviously the obvious goals of the web center fast track, making website sales, duplicating, prospecting and recruiting and sponsoring and building in depth and retailing and all of that great stuff, I think that the number one most important goal behind this fast track that I created is all about consistency and good healthy habits with building your business. That has got to be the number one goal. The second most important thing about what I think the web center fast track is about realizing the simplicity of small efforts every single day that add up, right? I'm a very, very incredibly busy person, and I know a lot of you guys are super busy too. But I'll just give you a quick little idea of what my life looks like right now. I'm a mother of two young boys. I have an 8-year-old and a now 5-year-old, and I'm teaching 8 dance classes a week. I'm building my own unfranchise to hit supervising. I'm the field development executive for maWebCenters. So I do a lot of consulting, a lot of field development work for the company. And I'm running my web center business. I'm married, and it's just so. And I have friends and I have family just like everybody else. So my days are really, really full, and I'm really grateful for that. Actually, it's funny. Even though I'm very, very busy, I find that I personally am very happy when I'm really busy. But one of the things that I know is that if I'm not careful about how I spend my time, it doesn't get done. Something always lacks, whether it's the way that I'm, contributing to my family, just, being present, or my business lacks, or my choreography is not as great as it should be one week, or whatever it is. It's never because I'm not capable of doing all of those things. It's always a direct reflection of my commitment to making really good schedules, right, and sticking to them. And the fast track is one way to keep consistent and to schedule your time out in a great way so that you can put the attention that you need to be putting on your business where you need to put it. And it's so small. In fact, when you see how little time it really took for fast trackers to achieve these incredible results that they achieved, it you're going to be blown away, because it wasn't about, like I said, it wasn't about going nuts. It wasn't about scheduling out an extra 10 hours a week. It was about doing the plan and being specific about how you're going to spend your 8 to 10 hours a week, right? When we see the business plan, we acknowledge and we commit that this is a part-time effort in addition to what you're currently doing. So what is your part-time effort? What are you doing part-time? And are you actually working 8 to 10 hours a week? 8 to 10 hours a week is not a lot of time. However, it is time, and it is time that needs to be spent. And there are specific things that you need to do during that time so that you can actually be productive and see results. So, more specifically, if you're going to narrow down the goals of the fast track, here they are. Number one, we want to sell websites. We want to earn retail profit and generate BV as well as ongoing BV from the ongoing website clients. And then secondly is to expand your own franchise, right? With prospecting and recruiting, we want to up our personal sponsorships. We want to build in depth. We want to show plans for people in our organization and help them to continue to prospect, recruit, and sponsor. We want to create good business habits. Um, Part of the reason why the fast track requires daily activity is because that adds up to good daily habits, which adds up to good weekly habits, which turns into great monthly, quarterly, and yearly habits. But the habits only occur if you do them consistently, if you do them all the time. So it's super important. Another huge goal of the fast track is to create momentum. Now, I've said this a lot in the past, but the Web Center program is very similar to building an unfranchise, right? When we build our unfranchised business, we create a names list, we approach the names list, we show the business plan, and then there's generally some follow up door and qualifying of our prospects before we actually register a new business partner's business, right? Well, the Web Center program can be a lot like that. We still have to create a names list. We have to approach our names list, and we have to get them in front of the product specialist to see the plan. The plan being the website demonstration and consultation for your potential customer. And then there's some general follow-up that happens, right? Now, the best way to constantly be building both in retail with web centers and with your unfranchise is to constantly be reaching out to new people because you're creating momentum. You always have people to be following up with. You are building off of excitement. You're building from event to event, and it's a lot easier. It is so much easier, in fact, to see results because you're building momentum and continuously building because you get into the groove of things. Your confidence builds, the way that you communicate improves, and your results are therefore improve as well. And it's a lot easier doing it this way than, going crazy for 1 week and having an incredible business building week and then doing nothing for 3 weeks. Because what happens after 3 weeks? Really, one or two things are going to happen after you take a few weeks off, right? Number one, that few weeks will turn into a lot of weeks. That's one thing that happens when you take time off. Or number two is you lost all that momentum and now you have to start over, and it's not fun because starting is the hardest part. Once you have the momentum going, it's so much fun to build the business because you have so much positive stuff going on that you can work with. So getting started, really, in my opinion, is the hardest part. And so creating momentum and building off of momentum is a huge goal of the fast track. Um, Another big goal, and I'm a huge believer in this, is to learn where you are right now, in terms of your business. Where are you? And build from there, right? Now, where I am is going to be different than where you are right now. I've been building my business for 7 years, and I have been working in the web center program. I have been a web center owner for 7 years. So for me, my goals and where I am and where I would like to improve for myself are completely different than, a person that's owned a web center for 3 months, because we just are at different parts of our own personal experiences. And what's really, really great about the web center fast track is it gives us an opportunity to track and measure and monitor and adjust our own personal growth so that we're taking a proven duplicatable system, a plan, and we're personalizing it to ourselves. We're applying that plan to ourselves, and we're just starting from our own starting points, which is really nice. Measure, monitor, and adjust your results. So important. The tracking part of the fast track is so important for so many reasons. Number one, we need to be able to look back, and I'm going to talk more about how we measure, but we need to be able to look back and really understand what our efforts were, right? If we want to decide if what we're doing is working or not, we need to know what we were doing. And if you're not recording that information, then you don't have a way of determining whether or not your approaches are working or whether or not you're consistent. And so successful people measure and they monitor results. And that's why that is a huge, huge requirement to be on a fast track, is because we want to work with people that want to be successful, and successful people measure and monitor results. Another thing, spend time doing the right things with the right people. So, so important, right? When you're working with so many people, you don't get hung up on trying to convince certain people that they should buy something or that they should evaluate something, because you're on to the next contact already. It's really, really great. And it's, again, more fun. That's a constant thing that I saw coming up, is it's just so much more fun when you're working with people that want to be that are the right people. Consistency and duplication. All of the techniques that I'm going to share with you today, I've duplicated and people have duplicated as well, and that's really important because we are unfranchised owners first. I'm a huge believer in that. And we started our businesses to create ongoing residual income in a part-time effort. And the way that we do that is by building in depth. So, in my opinion, if a superstar seller or superstar recruiter or superstar whatever comes about and what they're doing is just so amazing, that's great for them. That's really, really awesome. And there's nothing wrong with being really great at something. But if it's not duplicatable, then to me, it doesn't have any value, because I'm in this to duplicate and to build in depth and to create ongoing income for myself and for the people in my group. And so duplication is very key. So I want you to really, really, really commit to that as well, because I think when we get really into the university majors, it's important to really understand the process, because all of the university majors work really hard at creating a system that works for everybody. And so if you understand how that works for everybody, yes, some other things may work for you in addition to what our system is, but understanding how it works for everybody is what's going to be valuable for you when you're building your unfranchised business, and you're expanding distribution with other web center owners and other motives consultants and other TLS coaches and all of that other great stuff. So just understand the goals. All right. So, does it work? Well, let's just take a look. So, I told you we tested out this program. We started off with a beta group, and this is a picture of them on stage at the recent international convention in August. It was a really, really proud moment for me, actually, to have my fast trackers on stage. And we went around and we just had people share their individual and group results and what they did on this fast track, because what they did was so important, and it was so important for people to understand that what they did was they stayed consistent and they plugged into a system, and they approached this kind of person because they found it was easy to talk to that kind of person. It was awesome, but the results are really healthy. I mean, they had $15,725 in website retail profit. They gained 48 new business partners. In addition, there was $8,450 in other MA products that were sold, and 274 plans that were shown. Those were really great results, and it inspired a lot of people to want to join our next 90-day fast track, which is what we launched just a few weeks after international. And we had an incredible showing of interest for that. Now, the next group that we launched was open to any web center owner that owned, so somebody that owned a web center and anybody that wanted to make the full 12-week commitment. And so I'll talk to you about commitment and requirements in a little bit, but just understand this. We had about 250 people make the commitment. By the end of our next fast track, we had by the end of the fast track, we had about 100 and I want to say 150, 145-ish people left. And these are the results that those people saw. 150 websites were sold, which were sold at $232,505 website sale price, which generated $156,558 in website retail profit. You guys, that is huge. That's an average of at least one sale per person. And actually, it was different when you see the individual results. You're going to get to hear from these people at World Conference in February. I'm excited about that. But take a look. We talk about websites sales that generate an average of $1,000 in website retail profit. So if 150 websites were sold and $156,000 was generated in website retail profit, that's pretty accurate, right, guys? So this is going to be really important when we talk about goal setting in a little bit. So, in addition to website sales, the Fast Trackers found that they actually sold a ton of Market America branded products, BV products, because simply because they were out talking to people every day about the business, about websites, about what we do, they sold more product. And so that was almost $300,000 in Market America branded products wholesale. We only reported wholesale costs for a product. We didn't record retail profit for that. In addition, 143 personally sponsored business partners, 266 additional sponsored business partners. And what that means is quite simple. It means that the fast trackers are showing plans for themselves and for people in their group. So when they personally sponsored a new partner, they recorded it. Or if they showed a plan or they helped follow up for one of their own business partners, and a new business partner came in but was personally sponsored by somebody else that they had been working with, they recorded that. Um, Guys, how many business partners is that extra? I mean, it's almost 400. Actually, it is over 400 new business partners in 90 days. That is incredible. Look at these new pin levels that were hit: 69 new coordinators, 74 new executive coordinators, 10 new masters, one new professional, two new supervising, and one new executive supervising coordinator. And guys, honestly, out of all of the emails that I just got over the last week from people and messages, people feel like they got so much more done inside of 12 weeks for their business than they may have gotten done over the course of a year. And again, it wasn't because the people were more or less capable during this 90 days. It was because they were accountable to themselves and accountable to this group. And just by simply plugging in and staying consistent, those small little efforts turned into incredible, incredible results. So, this is what happened. This is not what we thought might happen. This is what happened in 90 days. And by the way, our last week of the fast track was the week of Thanksgiving. So, just throw that in there. All right, so it works if you work it. The numbers are consistent. It proves that it works. The people that put the work in are the ones that got the results. It's very, very simply put like a college course. If you show up to the course that you signed up for, you'll gain the knowledge. If you study for the test, you'll do a great job. If you show up for the labs, you'll get the grade. If you pass the test, then you get your degree. It's that simple. The fast track is a college course for you to build your web center business and your own franchise. It's all about the accountability, it's all about staying on it. It's about committing and showing up. So where do we begin? Well, number 1, when you're running a fast track group, you have to set requirements. And in my opinion, I mean, it's a zero leniency thing for requirements because it's impossible for you to coach people that come in and out. So, and listen, I'm not saying that if people fall off your fast track, you just cut them off and you like never talk to them again. I'm simply saying that if they want to be part of the fast track, they need to stay on the fast track and they need to meet the minimum requirements that you're setting. And then otherwise, other than that, then your support is your support. But my general rule of thumb is I work with people that are working, right? I show plans for people that are consistent, that are setting plans and that show up at events and support their local NMTSS and are building their business because that's a good use of my time. And it's where I've committed my hours of work. I'm very specific about who I give my time to and how I spend it. And the fact of the matter is I can't go out and show a random plan for a distributor that shows up to nothing and only has somebody to show the plan to once a year. No, what I will tell to that person that doesn't show up and doesn't really plug in is, I'm so glad that you have someone that wants to see the plan. I'm showing the plan on Tuesday night at so and so's house. This is where it's going to be. Can you get that person to that event? And I plug them into what I'm already doing. But requirements are important because it keeps your time being spent with the right people and in the right places. So my requirements when I'm running a fast track are really, really simple. They're very, very simple, actually. My number one requirement for the fast track for the web center is you have to own a web center. I can't work with people that don't have a web center on the web center fast track because you absolutely need the tools in the web center to succeed with the web center fast track. There's no way to get around this. The other thing is, as I require that people remain committed and they demonstrate that commitment by sending in the numbers every single week during the agreed upon fast track period, right? I need people to stay consistent to help them grow. Guys, I put that at the bottom. There's no time for yo-yo dieting with web centers. I know it sounds silly, but it's so true. I mean, everybody knows a yo-yo dieter or is or was a yo-yo dieter at some point. Yo-yo diets don't work because you commit to the diet for like a week and a half and you might lose 3 or 4 pounds, but usually you gain more weight than you lost when you're done yo-yo dieting. And the same thing is true for anything. It's certainly true for business building. And so there's just no time for that. I mean, we all did this business for a reason. And so I just charge that maybe you might want to think about that and think about if your time that you're spending is yo-yo dieting with your business or are you actually building a business? All right. So now that you know what's going to work, you know what kind of requirements, these are the things that you need to start a web center fast track as a participant and as a leader. Number one, you need to pick a set of dates. You have to have a start date and you have to have an end date. Now, I build 90 days at a time, not just 90 days period. And that's very important. This is a 2 to 3 year business plan. So you want to be building and building and building, but you want to measure within 90-day periods just because it gives you something to work toward. So pick some dates, and then secondly, determine a group of participants. Let people know that you're going to be doing it, and then schedule an initial conference call with them to go over your requirements, go over the tools, go over the process, which I'm going to go over with you in the rest of this webinar. In addition to that, you need the Web Center Getting Started Guide, the Web Center one, the 90-day fast track momentum sheets, and the summary reports. And both of those documents are available to download at maWC411.com. And you can just click off down to launch your web center business, and then each of the Web Center Getting Started Guide and the 90-day fast track page have their own page under that. You need an accountability partner and you need to be aware of your resources. Very, very simple list of things that you need when you're getting prepped. All right. In fact, the very first page of the 90-day fast track guide goes over the things that you need. You need your calendar, you need a web center, the guide, the momentum sheets, accountability partner team, and here's some important phone numbers, etc. So just an FYI, this resource is it's worth taking a second to explain where you get the resources from, but also just understand that this website is an incredible resource for you as a leader, as well as a web center owner. But I get it all the time. I have somebody that wants to do web centers, they're not sure what to do. Well, the new maWC411.com has been redeveloped to be like the ultimate distributor support site. And if you click on getting started, you can see clearly how to set up your new web center, how to launch your web center business, the getting started guide, and the 90-day fast track, because these are the 4 things that I would recommend doing with a new web center owner. So if you go to maWC411.com, this is exactly where you would find those 2 documents that we were just talking about. And as a leader, you want to really be familiar with this website so that you can not only use the resources for yourself, but send your team to this website in the right places as well and share the resources with them. All right, so more about getting ready and more about getting prepped. Now, we're not going to spend a ton of detail going through the Web Center Getting Started guide, but I want to quickly walk you through what's in it so that you understand what you need to be going through. But before you can even do the fast track, one of the requirements that I have as part of the homework during the prep week of a fast track is that every single web center owner on the fast track must go through the Getting Started guide. So I just finished a Web Center fast track, and I'm going to do it again on my own, leading up to World Conference. And I am going to go through the Getting Started guide again. It's so important that I do that before I start out my next 10 weeks, because I need to reestablish my names list, reestablish my approach, reestablish my new goals, reestablish my prospecting and recruiting list. It's so important, because otherwise I'm just going to get tired, burnt out. I'm going to feel like I've run out of names, when the reality of it is I just need to redo my names list. So everybody, regardless of how experienced you are or how new you are, you need to go through the Web Center Getting Started guide. All right? Um, so let's talk about it. The first thing that we're going to have people do is fill out the goal setting section of the Getting Started guide. Why are you doing this? What is the primary reason that you're building your own franchise at all? For two reasons, okay? Number one, listen, one of these reasons is more obvious than the other. The number one obvious reason why you need to know why you're building this business is because at times you're not going to want to do it. At times when it's not convenient to build a business, or you'd prefer to be, vegging out watching the new Batman movie or whatever, you need to have some sort of motivating personal reason why you're going to get up and show up at the local UBP instead, right? And so for me, my reason is very simple. I want to provide a life for my kids that is financially stress-free, so that we can enjoy our time as a family, and I can have quality time with my kids, right? I don't want to just work all day and then come home, cook dinner, and like physically be in the same room with my kids, yet not really be spending time with them. Working parents, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I want to be with my kids, and that's a really, really different thing. So that's why I'm building my business, and with my husband as well. So when things are not convenient, or when I don't feel like making a phone call, or I'm just like whatever about the business, because that happens to me too. I mean, I have bad days just like everybody else. I need a reason to pick me up. That's the obvious reason. But the second thing is, people I find in this business are not prepared for success. So, and I know that sounds crazy, but when you're so used to your lifestyle the way that it is, or working paycheck to paycheck, and when you sell your first website and you get $1,000 to $2,000 extra in the mail, you're not prepared to handle that. Yes, you're excited, and I'm not saying it's a negative effect on you, like emotionally. I'm just saying that unfortunately, when people make a huge commission check like that, there's something that happens where they slow down and they go, oh, I can take a break now because I can breathe finally. And that's not good, because, like I said earlier, when you're trying to create and build upon momentum, consistency is really like the number one goal, right? So you need to be prepared for success, and by having your reason why and being open to succeeding, so that you continue to build even when you're seeing results. I'm telling you, because you're going to want to take a break, because you're going to be like, I made it. No, 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 no. You need to keep building. The next thing is your short term goals. Establish at least 3 fixed cost items. For example, a family vacation, holiday shopping. I want to cover my costs to MA World Conference or whatever. Anything that costs a one-time, fee, that's what you're going to put here. And you're going to mathematically calculate what you're going to need to do website sale wise to achieve your short-term goals. The very simple calculation is this: the average website sale generates $1,000 in retail profit. That's the average, okay? So if you add up the numbers in your short term goals, and you divide them by $1,000, then you're going to determine how many websites you need to sell to hit your short term goals. So if my next 3 short term goals are, I want to have an extra $1,000 for holiday shopping, $2,000 for MA World Conference, and I don't know, $500 for just something miscellaneous, okay? Like a toy or a new toy. That's a total of $3,500 in expenses for short term goals. So divided by $1,000 is 3.5, which means I would need to sell about 4 websites to hit my short term goals. It's important to have something to work toward. Um, Money, you guys, is really like not as important to us as we think it is. It's just paper, right? It's just a number. But if money translates into something that means something to you, now all of a sudden your efforts are amplified because you care a little bit more. Most of us will work a lot harder if we need to find a way to come up with $1,500 to pay for our, whatever, versus just saying, I'd like to have 1,500 extra dollars. That's a random thing, right? But if you associate that with something, you're going to work harder. And then your long-term goals. And what I want to just say, I'm not going to touch a lot on this, but what I will say about long-term goals is this. When you're calculating what your long-term goal is, it needs to be what is your next long-term goal, right? So my next long-term goal with the Market America compensation plan as an unfranchised owner is to hit supervising coordinator, right? Now, I know what it's going to take for me to hit supervising coordinator because I've mapped that out. It's going to take for me I have one business open, so I have my 001 open and that's it. So I know I need to flush through my 001 once a week for the next 4 weeks, bonus twice, and get an IBV check. That would generate $7,500 in BV and IBV compensation, not including website retail profit. And that would allow me to hit my next goal. Now, I don't want to retire my Market America career as a supervising coordinator. I'd like to create new pin levels at some point. However, I know that for me to focus in the next 90 days, I need to write supervising coordinator, and write down that goal over and over and over again so that, and really read that goal every day so that I know what I'm working toward in the next 90 days, right? I'm not going to write down field vice president because that's my pie in the sky goal. That's my goal for realistically, 2 to 3 years from now, not 90 days from now. It's really important, especially when you're working with new people. So, a really, really realistic new goal to set for a brand new distributor is hit coordinator. Hit your first $300 check, get activated, and generate 1,200 BV on each side of your business, right? That's a really healthy goal to set. Just make sure that you actually do this. It's so funny. I had somebody actually email me in week 10 of the fast track saying something like, did you know that when you write your goals down, you're more apt to be successful? And I was like, yeah, I did. That's why I have you do it before you even start the fast track. So it's really, really important. If you can associate money with something that actually means something to you, then the money will have value. If you don't associate money with something that has meaning for you, then money is just money and you're not going to be really motivated to do anything. Next is retailing. We teach people to work within warm markets, not for any other reason than this is the most successful way to meet new website prospects. It's the fastest way to generate website sales. It's the most duplicatable way to generate website sales and to duplicate the web center business in your business. So we sold about 200 websites, Ryan and I, in just personally. And I can't remember. I tried cold calling a few years ago, and I mean, I had some success with it, but it was a miserable experience, and I quit after a few weeks because it was so miserable and also very inefficient. But what I found is that instead of using like a 1970s approach to sales, why not just apply what I do with the business to the Web Center program and just really perfect the art of conversational marketing and networking through my own warm market? So I ask people to create a website possibilities list. They generate a names list just like they would do for anybody that's building the business, right? So who do I know that owns a business? Who do I know that works for one? Who do I know that I do business with? Do I go out to eat at certain restaurants? Do I have an attorney? Do I have a doctor or a dentist? Who do I know that's well connected? And then I always leave a column for follow up, right? I build out this names list and then I ask them to define the names list. So, for example, I know that my sister works for a daycare. Do they have a website? Is it any good? Right? And the reason for that is very simple. By creating a names list that has value, you're going to be more excited about reaching out to them, right? If you know somebody has a terrible website, then you're going to be excited to talk to them and ask them more questions about that, right? Whereas if you just write down a list of everybody that works for a small to medium sized business, all that is a list of names, right? Again, it has less value. So I really want to take what we're doing and just find ways to build value into what we're doing as much as possible so that you actually act on them. So the names list part is really important. I also teach the simple sales approach, which we've done entire webinars on. So again, I'm not going to go into that, but just know this. Every web center owner ever needs to start with the simple sales approach. It's the most duplicatable thing ever. It is the reason I've been able to duplicate web centers into our business. So I highly recommend that you watch the webinar on simple sales. Next is understand the system and plug into it, right? What is the system? Well, you set appointments for website possibilities with sales support. You allow the product specialist to walk your potential customer through the website opportunity and sell the website for you on your behalf. Then you let the design center design the website. You let customer care handle all of the technical follow-up, and all you need to do is earn the BV, earn the retail profit, and be a really great customer manager. Follow up with your customers and ask them very really basic questions. Hey, did you know that we just got new free mobile websites for all of our customers? All you got to do is call in a tech support and they'll walk you through how to mobilize your website for free. Hey, so and so bakery, have you been using tech support to update your prices on a daily basis? It's really, really easy. Here's the number to call. Let me know how the experience is, right? You're just going to be a customer manager the same way that you would if you sold isotonics, right? When we sell isotonics, we call up our customers and we ask them how are they being compliant? Are they taking the product? Are they mixing it? Are they taking it every day? How do they feel? Do they feel any better? Do they, all of those are the kinds of questions. And those are the types of questions we want to ask our website customers for so many reasons. But one of them being is we want to, have a business. We don't want to create an expensive hobby and start to service customers in ways that we're not A, prepared or, equipped for, and B, like that we even want to do. So learn and understand the system. Next, you're going to create a names list for prospecting and recruiting, right? Because the main thing's the main thing. And another major goal behind the Web Center program is to show plans and prospect, recruit, and sponsor. So we ask people to create a list of possibilities for people to see the business opportunity as well. All right? Finally, after you've gone through the Getting Started guide, you're going to go through and prepare to actually run on the fast track. You need to start with determining a track for yourself. Now, there are two tracks that happen, but no matter which track you choose, every single person is going to be doing 312 personally, all right? No matter what, if you're on a fast track, 312, you knock out by yourself on your own. Now, most people do 312, all right? If you are doing a fast track and you're leading a fast track and you're working with two or more people in your organization, then you would do 10-3-2, all right? But you would still be doing 3-1-2 on your own. So what is the difference? Well, let's start by talking about 3-1-2, right? What 3-1-2 is this. Every single day, you would talk to three people, right? Now, you would talk to those three people about the following things. One of those people would be about a website possibility. It would be somebody from your website names list that you're going to commit to reaching out to, okay? And trying to set an appointment with sales support. One a day, right? Very easy to talk to one website possibility a day. The other two out of the three would be about the business or about events that are coming up, or maybe you're going to, cultivate or reacquaint with a possibility on one of your names lists. That would be the other two contacts per day. So total personally, you're going to be reaching out to three a day, one for a website, two for the business. Out of those three people, your goal is to book one appointment per day. That appointment could either be with sales support to sell a website, or to see the plan, or to have coffee, whatever it is. It could be a number of things. In addition, you need to add two names to your possibilities list. And that needs to be for the business and for the product being your website possibilities. And you should show the plan personally, either at the UBP or at an HBP. Email and call your partner every single day. So, an accountability partner is just simply somebody that you choose to text, email, or phone call, or Facebook message, or whatever, once per day to say, yep, I did my 312, or nope, I haven't done it yet, but I'm not going to bed until I do, right? So that's 312 in a nutshell. It's very, very simple. This is the track that I do personally. It's the track that everybody does personally. Now, if you are leading a fast track and you have two or more people that you're going to be working with as well, then you would be doing 10-3-2. And what that means is simply you just up the number of contacts that you make per day, because in addition to what you're already doing personally, you're going to be reaching out to other people for your people. So you would still talk to 3 people per day. But in addition to the 3 people every day that you talk to, you might talk to 7 more for people on your team. Like, hey, can you call my prospect and see about, follow up with them about the plan or whatever. That would count as part of your extra 7. You would book 3 appointments per day. One of those appointments would be personal, 2 would be for people in your team. You would still personally add your 2 names, show the plan, and email and call your partner. Now, let me tell you something, guys. 10-3-2, I mean, in theory, it sounds great, but just know this, if you could commit to 312, the results that you'll see from that alone is going to be what's out of this world. All of those crazy numbers that I shared with you earlier in the webinar, those are results of people on 312. We didn't have a single person in that last fast track doing 10-3-2. So just know this, doing 312 alone and duplicating 312 in your business is going to be enough. It's going to be duplicatable, and it's going to like really, really compound into some really, really great numbers. So I actually only want to focus on 312 for the rest of this webinar. So if you talk to 1 website contact per day, then on a weekly basis, that would have turned into 5 per week or 20 per month. That's incredible. If you booked 1 website appointment, if you booked 1 to 2 website appointments per week, that would turn into 4 to 8 per month. And why is that important? Well, sales support is really good, actually. They close a lot of the appointments that they do. For qualified appointments that are set, they close about 1 out of 2 appointments. So if you're setting really high quality website appointments, then and you're setting 4 to 8, you're really setting yourself up to have some really great consistent website sales going on a month-to-month basis. Now, if you're talking to 10 additional people about the business or about products or events, that's going to turn into 40 per month. If you're setting 3 to 5 appointments to show the plan or to sell tickets or to sell a product or whatever, that's going to turn into 20 appointments per month. If you add 10 new names to your names list per week, it turns into a ton of extra ones, 40. If you're showing the plan enough, you're looking at 1 personally sponsored per month because you're setting so many appointments. If you're setting 4 to 8 monthly appointments, you're looking at 2 to 3 sales per month. You guys, again, it's about small efforts done over and over and over again. If you can master the art of rinse and repeat, you will see great results. That will turn you into an incredible result producer. So, how do we keep track of all of this? That you can agree with me, right? That this is a lot. If you did this much activity this month, would it not be more activity than what you've done, say, in the past 6 months combined, right? So what happens is when you're talking to that many people consistently, you still need to follow up with a ton of people, and you would totally lose track of who you reached out to, both for website possibilities and for the business. So tracking and keeping track and labeling is really important. So every week we fill out these momentum sheets at the top, and we email or picture message or whatever them to our web center fast track leader, right? So for the last one, that was me. For this next 10 weeks, that's going to be you leading the fast track or whoever you're going to be working with, right? We fill out every single day who we talked to, what appointments were booked, any new names that we're adding, and if we called or emailed our accountability partner. Now, when we're setting appointments or we're talking to people, I label them. Susie, I talked to for the unfranchise. Joe, I talked to because he was a potential website customer. Lori, I talked to because I'm prospecting her because she would be a great web center owner, and I want to talk to her about the business and the possibility of building an unfranchise as a web center owner. So and so, I want to talk to a little bit about motives and about some other products that we have. So and so, I want to talk to about getting to the next local seminar, Jim Winkler, in the next couple of weeks. And so, I got to shop on shop.com, right? And by labeling all of these things, it just maximizes your own productivity. It's good for your own record so that by week 5 or 6, when you feel like you're running out of new names, you can start following up a lot better. You can just go back to week 1, pull out this momentum sheet and just say, okay, I got to call back Lori, Sue, Joe, and, whoever. It's really important that you fill these out every single week and that you actually take the time to record your results of the people you're talking to and the appointments that you book. Now, there's different ways that people did this. They printed out 12 of these right in advance so that they had them ready and they just stapled them to their paper calendar. You can also download them, and if you have the right version of Adobe, you can just literally add them into the numbers, like type into the little fields. It depends, but I'm just a paper and pen kind of gal, so like I like to print these out and just carry them with me. Now, this is so important to recording results. If you're running a fast track group, it's so important that you have your participants share with you a summary of this momentum sheet, because otherwise you're going to spend your Sundays and Mondays going through all of these contacts, adding things up, adding up product sales and all that other stuff, and it's just not fun. So I asked all of my fast trackers, they actually submitted these electronically to me via the website. Do not do it that way. If you ran on the last fast track, don't do it that way because you won't get those results emailed to you. They will be emailed to us, and that won't be helpful for you as a leader. So, what I would recommend that you do is have people, again, either fill this out electronically using Adobe Reader, Acrobat Reader, the right version. I think the Pro works, or print them out, take a snapshot, and picture message it or scan it in and send it or whatever. But it's really important that we measure a ton of things. So at the top, it's obvious. Your name, what is the week number? It's week 1, and the week dates are December 2nd through whatever, okay? Very important, duh. Now, we measured results in 4 different ways. Number 1, we measure it by, things that we put into motion or seeds that were planted, right? So the total number of contacts made in general, right? How many appointments were set for the unfranchised, for shop.com, for products and events? Total. How many appointments were set for websites, for website sales? How many appointments were set to talk about web center owners? And why do we talk about this? Well, because part of the goal of the fast track is to duplicate web centers in depth. So when you're showing the plan, if you're talking to a really great potential web center owner as well, we want to keep track of that as well. Just so you know, these acronyms are right up here on the momentum sheet. So if you need any answers to that, it's right on the other page right in before this, okay? So this first section is all about, again, seeds that were planted, things that were put into motion, but it's not about completed activity yet, right? The second section is about completed activity as a result of stuff that you put into motion. So how many plans were actually shown out of the appointments were set? How many web center overviews were actually completed from appointments that were set? How many website appointments were actually completed, right? Really, really important. Then we talk about what kind of results happened as a result of completed activity, which was a result of appointments that were set, right? Did you make any website sales? What was the website sale price and how much website retail profit did it generate? Did you make any additional product sales like motives, TLS, isotonics, things like that, nutrimetrics? What did you sell and what was the sale amount? Did you personally sponsor any new business partners, right? In addition, as you were showing a ton of plans for people in your group, did you have any additional business partners enter your group that week? In addition to that, we want to know about pin levels that were hit and anything else that would be notable, right? So if you hit a new pin level or somebody that you're working with hit a new pin level, we ask people to let us know about that. And if anything else happened, like if someone went on a special business building seminar or, just something really cool happened, we want to know about that kind of stuff because it's important. But just know this, this summary report, if you fill these out and you're looking at, your momentum sheets to keep track about who you're actually going to follow up with, and B, the summary report so that you can know about what kind of activity are you actually doing. Are you having a lot of appointments set but not seeing a lot of completed activity? Are you having enough completed activity to generate results that you want? It just gives you a really clear picture of how you're doing and where you should be adjusting and measuring, monitoring and improving in your own personal efforts so that you start to see the results that you want to see. It's also really very helpful for the person leading the fast track to have numbers to record so that we can get an idea for that as well. It just helps us to be a good coach. All right, so some more stuff, more on momentum sheets and reporting. I required that momentum sheets and summary reports be sent in a single email each week by Saturday, 11:59 p.m. to the fast track leader, right? That is because if you start getting multiple emails with different attachments, it just gets to be messy. It's not fun. And I want people running fast tracks to have their time free to do things that matter versus silly, stupid, administrative things like opening up 40 emails instead of 20, right? No sheets should be accepted after Sunday, all right? You can miss only 1 week and it in the fast track and still be considered part of the fast track. Everybody's entitled to have 1 week where they just need to take off because they're on vacation or whatever the reason is. But after that, then your results are not really, they shouldn't be measured anymore, okay? Here's the other thing. Holidays and family stuff are going to happen. This past fast track, that again, you saw those crazy results that we had, like over 150 grand in website retail profit, 400 new business partners, and $275,000 in product sales, in 300 new pin levels hit. We started week one the week of Labor Day. So our first day was Monday, Labor Day, where everybody was at a barbecue and they all hopped on a webinar, which I failed at, but whatever. And our last week was Thanksgiving week. So we started and ended on a week that a lot of people were like, saying to me, that's not a good idea, because people are going to be not be able to do it. So that's not true. I said, if you know how to actually just stay consistent, and if you realize how little time it takes to talk to 3 people a day, then you're not going to care if it's the week of Thanksgiving or if you're at a barbecue on Monday. Rather than that, why not just talk to 3 people at your barbecue, right? Why not use those holidays and those family things to your advantage to just meet and talk to new people and prospect, cultivate, and qualify? It's really, really that simple. The next thing is, if you're leading a fast track group, you want to run a weekly call. This is really important. Weekly calls it gives you FaceTime. It gives you one-on-one time to be a good coach and to keep people motivated and feeling part of something. It's strength in numbers, simply put, right? It was so much easier for me to stay consistent knowing that I was going to be talking to, almost 200 of my favorite people every Monday. It's that simple. But as a leader, it's really important that you are reliable and that you're accountable to your group and that you show up every week that you're holding your conference call or your webinar. So I did webinars because we had international callers and I wanted to be able to do not have anybody paying fees to attend our weekly coaching sessions. But you can do it, using freeconferencecall.com or whatever you want to use, or just, a three-way call or whatever you're doing. Calls should be about 30 minutes or less. If they go over by a few minutes, that's fine, but they really don't need to be like really, really a big deal. It shouldn't be a huge preparation factor. It needs to be just, I'll show you what I think you should put in it, but it should be about 30 minutes long. I suggest that you structure these calls this way. Number one, Simply put, share results from the previous week. We had 3 website sales and this is what they generated. We had all this, this many business partners, whatever it is. Share the results of the group from the previous week and the total results thus far. Second, allow one of the fast trackers to speak for 2 to 3 minutes about what they did last week. So if somebody made a sale and they have a really great story that they can share about how they met that prospect and how they used product specialist or whatever, give them time to speak on the call or on your webinar or whatever you're going to do so that they can share. And it's also good to hear from different people. And then thirdly is just do a short coaching session that addresses some of the successes and some of the challenges that may have come up from the previous week. So, halfway through the fast track, the challenges that a lot of fast trackers have is they're talking to so many people, but they run out of names or they run out of possibilities to talk to. So I would do a coaching session on ways to expand your names list or ways to generate new possibilities, right? Um, and it should be relevant to what's going on in your fast track. Now, I uploaded all of my 90-day fast track webinars over here to mawc411.com/90 daykallsJSP. You could take a look at what I coached on in my fast track and get some ideas for things that might come up. And you can also hear from some of the fast trackers of the week, and you can see this is the formula that I followed every single week. You can steal as many ideas as you want from me. I'm so happy to share them. But also just get an idea. But here's the thing: it's important to not just use those webinars because you never know if your successes and challenges are going to be a little bit different, and if maybe a different coaching session would be more or less relevant than another. It's all about taking ownership and initiative, right, guys? I just love that. Um, at the end of the day, nobody works for anybody here. Nobody's anybody's boss. We all own our own business. We're all doing this for a reason, right? And if we can just own that, if we can just accept the fact that, you're not under somebody in the business, that you are you and you are a business owner and you own this asset and it's your responsibility and your opportunity to turn it into whatever you want to turn it into, right? By doing is such an important part of the fast track. You're only going to get great at this if you're willing to grow upon mistakes and track from an honest place and use your resources, right? So if you start off and say, look, I'm going to take responsibility, I'm going to be committed, I'm going to show up, I'm going to do everything, and you're honest with yourself and you allow yourself to make mistakes and get out there, you're going to be something special. That's how people get exceptional at things. It's not because they're like ultra talented or super, like, I don't know, anointed or something. It's just, yeah, there's certain things that people are more naturally talented at than others, but the real successful people are not lucky. They're just people that failed more than you did. And it's always that simple, right? When Ryan and I started this business, we had hardly anything. Like literally, we had hardly anything. Our apartment was so tiny, it had like miniature appliances, and we couldn't open up our bedroom door in our apartment all the way because it hit our bed, because our bed took up so much space in our bedroom. And by the way, it was a full-size bed. It wasn't that big of a bed. It was just that the room was so small. And I mean, we were just living on, I don't even know how we were paying our bills, but we were just we had hardly anything. And so we knew that it was a great opportunity, and if we wanted to change that about ourselves, that we needed to stay accountable, we needed to follow people that knew what they were doing and take advice from them rather than our friends at the time that were trying to tell us that what we were doing is stupid and we're just as broke as we were. We were careful about who we were taking advice from. We plugged in, we took responsibility, and we owned it. And so it's important to know that. And even now, like if I ever find myself disappointed in a result that I didn't get, or whatever, even just with simple things like personal weight goals, or whatever, it's always going to come down to personal responsibility, commitment, and consistency. And that's what's so beautiful about the fast track is it's just a way to do those things that you already need to do. All right, so let's move on. Available and providing support. So there is support that's already available to you as a fast tracker or as a leader of a fast track group. And then there are certain tips I want to give you about providing support, and just rules that I go by as far as personal support that I give people. Number one, weekly calls and coaching sessions on the fast track, which is this. That is going to be provided by you. You can decide how you want to run that, and I already gave you ideas for what you should include in those. Now, the bi-weekly webinars, which cover a new aspect of the Web Center program each and every week, every other week at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesdays. That's what you're on right now, right? These are available for you every other week. It's the first and third Tuesday of every month. And so this is a great asset for you too as a leader, because you can just plug your people into this and let me and other people train them instead of you having to create training sessions for them for that. Weekly accountability. You can read reports and record group results. The new maWC411.com site. There's all kinds of information on this website. I showed you that earlier. And then there's the Facebook group, right? So there's about 430 members. If you go to the Facebook group, and I will post this on maWebCenters official Facebook page so that you can join the group. It's a great resource. So even though the majority of the people in that group right now are from the previous fast track group that we just finished, they're all people that are continuing to reach out to each other and remain accountable. So if you have any questions, then that you want to get other people's opinions on how to do an approach or whatever, just post it in the Facebook group and let everybody respond. Let people give you what worked for them, and then that's great because you're going to get all kinds of ideas for how to deal with a challenge, right? And then there's email support. So here's what I say is, when people have a question for me about the Web Center program, number one, if that question, the answer exists on maWC411.com, you should really think about looking there to find it first, right? And I will send them there and say, oh, well, the answer to that is right here on this page on maWC411.com. And the reason is not because I don't want to answer the question. The reason is because my time is really limited, and I want to save my time to be the best possible resource to you as possible. And so for me to be a really good asset to you as a Web Center owner, I need to have available time to answer personal questions or to answer questions where the answers don't exist on the website. And so that's a good use of my time, right? That's a quality use of my time. So what I tell people is, if they still can't find the answer on maWC411.com, or the Facebook group they couldn't find the answer, or if it's personal or whatever, then just send me an email and I'll totally respond within a day to that question. But just know that the best way, when you're dealing with this, is the email support should be used wisely. Don't just say, how do I set a website appointment in the sales calendar, when not only is the answer on MAWC 411, but I also put screenshots there. So just take a peek there, learn how to use these resources. And by the way, this is the exact process that you would do with your website customers, right? You want to train your customers to use the support wisely so that your time could be spent doing the right things. All right, now let's get going. Homework. So homework for you the week before you do a fast track, and I would recommend you doing that this week, is download the Getting Started guide and, very important, complete it. Download the 90-day fast track. Have your momentum sheets and your summary reports ready for each week in advance. So I would just recommend printing out 12 of each, having them ready. Browse MAWC411.com for resources. The online WCT is there. You could view upcoming live Web Center trainings, view some webinars. There's all kinds of information there. And once the fast track begins that you're starting, on a daily basis, you're going to remain accountable with your partner or via the Facebook group once you've completed your 312 or 1032. On a weekly basis, you're going to email your momentum and summary sheets, right, to your leader or record them. You're going to do your weekly conference call. You're going to post questions in the Facebook group so everybody can answer. Post your successes in the Facebook group so everybody can be excited together and build on each other's momentum. Send me emails when you have questions for me, and just stay on track. Always, 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 always remember why you're doing this. I explained the two reasons why we need to remember why we're building the business, but it's really important because when you're building on a fast track, um, it's not necessarily convenient. Can you knock 312 out in 15 minutes a day? Yeah, you can. You could totally knock out 312 in 15 minutes a day. Um, but sometimes it doesn't work out like that, right? And you need to remember why you're doing this. Like I said, I love that I get to spend time with my kids, but another thing that I'm really grateful for is that my husband gets to spend time with our kids. And that's important to us. Why are you doing this, right? Not everybody wants to be home with their kids. Some people have everybody has their own reason why they're doing this. I have a really great teacher on my in my organization, and her goal isn't to hit director. Her goal is to create some additional income so that when she has her summers off, she can enjoy them instead of working some stupid camp job or part-time job to supplement her income in the summers, right? And so it's important that she knows why she's doing it, and it's important that I know why she's doing this so that when we're working together, we're all working together under clear vision and clear focus, and everybody's on track for the right reasons, okay? So I highly recommend that you go through, you do the homework, do the getting started guide, do the 90-day fast track, print everything out. Remain accountable, get consistent, and know why you're doing this because the fast track is an incredible multiplier, and the results that are possible if you stay consistent are just astronomical. And you can be a part of that if you do the right things and you measure, monitor, and adjust so that you can have the best results possible and the desired results for yourself. So that's all I got tonight, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me again. I will see everybody hopefully again on December 18th, which is not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after that. So what I'm going to do again is I'm just going to hang up the line, mute myself out, and type out my responses to questions below. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and I'll talk to you soon.